What if everything you thought you knew about these movies was wrong? These aren't just forgotten flicks. These are cinematic masterpieces critics couldn't grasp. In a world obsessed with quick judgment, they missed the point entirely. Get ready to see what they overlooked. You'll never look at these films the same again. By the end, you'll be questioning everything you've ever believed about modern sci-fi. The truth is darker than you think. Cloud Atlas, 2012. Cloud Atlas was a labyrinth of narratives spanning centuries, defying conventional filmmaking. Critics called it confusing, pretentious, and nearly unwatchable. They missed its brilliance. The interconnected stories about love, freedom, and the impact of our choices echo throughout time. It's more than a film. It's an exploration of human connections, of how actions ripple through the ages. Beneath its dense structure lies a profound statement on fate, reincarnation, and the enduring power of empathy. With its visual storytelling and intricate narrative, Cloud Atlas challenges viewers to question the roles they play in the world. Each character's journey offers a piece of a larger puzzle that critics failed to appreciate. It's a film that grows in significance with each watch, revealing hidden depths that were dismissed too soon. What if Cloud Atlas was ahead of its time, too complex for the critics who tried to simplify it? In a world where we often crave instant understanding, this film is a defiant testament to the importance of embracing the unknown. Idiocracy, 2006. Mike Judge's Idiocracy was labeled a misguided, exaggerated satire when it was first released. Critics didn't know what to make of its depiction of a future where society has devolved into mindless consumerism and anti-intellectualism. They missed the point entirely. Far from being a silly comedy, Idiocracy is a chilling warning about the future, a future we're already seeing unfold. Its absurd premise of a world where the smartest people are forgotten in favor of the uninformed hit too close to home, and the satirical genius became lost on critics who dismissed it as too on the nose. But now, in a time where we're seeing more fake news and anti-science sentiment, the film feels more relevant than ever. The darker implications of Judge's vision have aged like fine wine, and it's no longer just a comedy. It's a documentary in the making. Critics couldn't see it then, but Idiocracy was a prescient commentary on society's rapid dumbing down, a narrative that has only become more real with time. Children of Men, 2006. When Children of Men hit theaters, critics were divided, with many dismissing its bleak view of the future and the chaotic world it portrayed. They failed to recognize that it was more than just a dystopian thriller. It was a raw commentary on human nature, immigration, and society's fragile state. Set in a world where humans are infertile and civilization is crumbling, the film doesn't shy away from depicting the worst of humanity, but also its most beautiful acts of hope. Critics saw a depressing, violent world, but missed the glimmer of hope in the form of a single child. Clive Owen's portrayal of a weary man tasked with saving humanity offers a raw, emotionally charged look at the human spirit. The film's long, unbroken takes depicting intense action sequences became a signature of the film's visceral experience, keeping viewers on edge, demanding attention. Children of Men was a warning, one that resonated with our current political landscape: fear, division, and the destruction of hope. Critics didn't understand the underlying message then, but today, its portrayal of a world in turmoil seems more prophetic than ever. A Scanner Darkly, 2006. Richard Linklater's A Scanner Darkly, a rotoscope animated adaptation of Philip K. Dick's novel, was initially dismissed as too experimental and difficult to follow. Critics failed to understand the film's unique narrative, distracted by its surreal visuals and fragmented storyline. Yet, beneath its bizarre exterior lies one of the most profound explorations of addiction, identity, and surveillance in modern cinema. The story follows Bob Arctor, a narcotics officer who is caught in a downward spiral of self-doubt and addiction, his mind becoming a blur between who he is and who he's pretending to be. A Scanner Darkly isn't just about drugs. It's a chilling look at how technology can strip away our identities and manipulate us into becoming someone we never intended to be. The film's animation, a blend of live action and rotoscoping, creates an eerie, dreamlike quality that mirrors the drug-induced haze the characters experience. Critics at the time couldn't see past the animation style, missing the social commentary on surveillance and the loss of self. In a world where privacy is becoming a distant memory, the film's chilling message resonates now more than ever. A Scanner Darkly is a haunting portrayal of the dehumanizing effects of both drugs and a society obsessed with control, a message critics overlooked when it first released, but can no longer ignore today. The Island, 2005. Michael Bay's. The Island was unfairly pegged as just another high-budget action film filled with explosions and chase sequences. Critics ignored the film's deeper philosophical themes about cloning, corporate control, and human autonomy. Set in a future where genetically engineered clones exist to serve as organ donors, The Island follows two clones who escape their facility, realizing their true purpose. While the action sequences, including high-speed chases and daring escapes, are undeniably thrilling, The Island also poses critical questions about ethics, individuality, and the right to life. The film is, at its core, a commentary on humanity's growing dependence on technology and the blurred lines between science and morality. Bay's direction, often criticized for being too commercial, was instead a perfect match for the film's theme of pushing boundaries, both physically and morally. Critics dismissed its blockbuster trappings and missed the message about the cost of technological progress at the expense of ethics. The Island explores the idea that the pursuit of scientific advancements without regard for moral implications leads to a dystopian reality where human lives are commodified. Critics missed how timely this critique was, and now, in a world where debates about bioethics are more relevant than ever, the film's prescient warnings are impossible to ignore. Starship Troopers, 1997. At the time of its release, Paul Verhoeven's Starship Troopers was derided as a mindless action film, a war movie with flashy CGI and over-the-top violence. Critics couldn't see past its bombastic exterior, missing its brilliant satire of militarism, nationalism, and fascism. Starship Troopers was not simply a space opera. It was a sharp critique of propaganda and the glorification of war, hidden in plain sight. The film's over-the-top aesthetic, with its exaggerated fascist imagery and flag-waving patriotism, was actually a deliberate choice to expose the dangers of blind obedience and militaristic culture. Verhoeven, a Dutch filmmaker who grew up in post-war Europe, used the film to comment on the rise of authoritarianism and the dangers of a society that embraces militaristic ideals without questioning them. Critics missed this and took the film at face value, unable to understand its deeper message. The film's infestation storyline, with soldiers battling giant alien bugs, was also a metaphor for the dehumanizing effects of war, where the enemy is reduced to a faceless, monstrous other. In today's political climate, Starship Troopers has become a cult classic as viewers now recognize its biting satire and political commentary on the militarization of society. Critics missed it in 1997, but audiences today understand its brilliance. The Man from Earth, 2007. At first glance, The Man from Earth appears deceptively simple, a group of colleagues gathering to say goodbye to a professor who claims to be 14,000 years old. Critics, who expected a more typical sci-fi experience, dismissed the film for its lack of action and flashy visuals, but that's where they missed the point entirely. This low-budget, dialogue-heavy film isn't about spectacle, it's a profound meditation on the nature of human existence, history, and immortality. The film's genius lies in its ability to unpack complex philosophical and existential questions through a single intense conversation. The protagonist, John Oldman, spins a tale that spans the breadth of human history, from ancient civilizations to modern times, suggesting that the fundamental questions of life, identity, mortality, the passage of time, are the true core of human experience. Critics who couldn't get past the slow pace failed to understand that The Man from Earth is designed to make the audience reflect deeply, challenging them to consider the very nature of truth and belief. It's not about action, it's about dialogue, the interaction of ideas, and the emotional weight of understanding one's place in the world. In today's fast-paced media landscape, where complex ideas are often overlooked for flashy visuals and quick thrills, The Man from Earth stands as a rare, thought-provoking gem that encourages viewers to think rather than simply be entertained. It's a film that only gets richer with every watch, something critics missed, but now an undiscovered treasure. Moon, 2009. Duncan Jones's Moon was initially a sleeper hit, It's a deeply introspective sci-fi film that flew under the radar for many critics. Initially, some reviewers saw its slow pace and minimalist setting as a weakness, unable to appreciate the way the film uses isolation and memory to explore profound themes of self-identity and humanity. Set on a lonely lunar base, the film follows Sam Bell, played by Sam Rockwell, as he begins to question his reality while nearing the end of his 3-year mission. Critics were quick to call it a quiet, low-budget film, but failed to recognize that it was, in fact, a meticulously crafted exploration of what it means to be human, especially in an age of corporate control and technological dependence. The film's emotional depth, powered by Rockwell's mesmerizing performance, explores ideas of self-awareness, the nature of the soul, and the ethics of cloning, making it one of the most relevant philosophical sci-fi films of its time. As the film unfolds, viewers realize that the tension is not just about the physical isolation of being on the moon, but the existential isolation of being trapped in a preordained existence with no control over one's future. In a society that values instant gratification and complex action-packed blockbusters, Moon reminds us of the beauty and tragedy in simplicity and slow, deliberate storytelling. It's a film that begs for thoughtful reflection, a type of reflection critics missed when it first released, but that now stands as one of the most poignant pieces of science fiction from the 2000s. Sunshine, 2007. Danny Boyle's Sunshine was initially met with mixed reviews. Critics couldn't reconcile its breathtaking visuals with the slow unraveling of psychological terror, leading many to dismiss it as a misfire. They missed the film's brilliance, mistaking its gradual shift from space exploration to psychological horror as a tonal mishap rather than a deliberate narrative choice. The movie follows a group of astronauts on a mission to reignite a dying sun, but as they get closer to their goal, the pressure of their mission begins to unravel their sanity. What seems like a space adventure quickly transforms into a much darker exploration of human nature, existential despair, and sacrifice. Sunshine isn't just about saving the world. It's about how far we'll go when faced with inevitable doom. Its tension arises not from external threats, but from the internal fears, desires, and vulnerabilities of the crew, perfectly mirrored by the vast, cold emptiness of space. Critics failed to see that the shift in tone was not a failure, but a masterful commentary on the fragility of the human psyche in the face of extreme circumstances. The film's haunting score, coupled with its visually stunning shots of space, also helped cement Sunshine as a film that blends beauty with terror. As time has passed, its cult status has grown, and many now recognize Sunshine as a hidden gem, one that critiques the human condition and explores the dark, philosophical side of science fiction. Critics missed it when it was released, but audiences now see its quiet brilliance. Minority Report, 2002. Steven Spielberg's Minority Report is often remembered as a slick, action-packed thriller with cutting-edge technology and compelling performances. Yet, many critics missed the film's true genius by focusing too heavily on its visual effects and futuristic action scenes. Set in a dystopian future where a specialized police unit predicts crimes before they happen, the film offers more than just a high-concept premise. It's a powerful commentary on free will, the ethics of preemptive justice, and the dangers of over-reliance on technology. Critics of the time missed how Spielberg was using his film to critique surveillance culture and the moral implications of a system that punishes people before they've even committed a crime. The movie's central protagonist, played by Tom Cruise, isn't just a man trying to escape a crime he hasn't committed. He's also questioning the very nature of a society that relies on technology to control its population. Minority Report is less about the action and more about the fundamental question it asks. When you predict the future, how do you account for human choice and the possibility of change? The film's exploration of determinism versus free will resonates more in today's world, where predictive algorithms are becoming increasingly prevalent. It's a chilling exploration of how systems designed to protect can also be used to control. Minority Report is not just a thriller, it's a provocative investigation into our relationship with technology, control, and the human capacity for redemption. Ideas critics failed to appreciate when the film was first released, but which now feel remarkably prescient. The Fountain, 2006, Darren Aronofsky's The Fountain was marketed as a visually stunning exploration of love, death, and immortality, but it was initially misunderstood by critics who found its narrative fragmented and its themes obscure. What many missed was that the film's structure, spanning three interwoven storylines over 1,000 years, wasn't a flaw but a reflection of its central theme, the eternal quest for life and the sacrifices we make along the way. Critics focused too much on its esoteric storytelling and surreal visuals, dismissing it as incoherent or confusing. However, The Fountain is a profound meditation on the human desire to transcend death, exploring not only the scientific and spiritual aspects of immortality, but also the personal cost that comes with it. Hugh Jackman's portrayal of a man struggling to save his wife across different eras, ranging from the conquistador of the 16th century to a future scientist seeking the secret of eternal life, serves as an emotional anchor for the film. The narrative complexity reflects the emotional complexity of the characters, who are caught between love, loss, and the drive to cheat mortality. Aronofsky uses the film's structure to convey a sense of cyclical time, where the journey toward acceptance of death is as important as the goal itself. Critics missed how the film's unconventional storytelling was a deliberate choice to mirror the infinite cycle of life and death. In a world obsessed with longevity and the fear of death, The Fountain remains a deeply introspective and timeless exploration of what it means to live and love across the ages. Flash forward 2009. When Flash Forward premiered, it seemed like a show destined to captivate audiences with its high-concept premise. Everyone on Earth loses consciousness for 2 minutes, during which they see a vision of their future. While critics initially praised the concept, many quickly dismissed the show for its overcomplicated plot and sprawling cast of characters. However, what they missed was the show's exploration of fate, choice, and the ethical implications of knowing one's future. Rather than being a typical sci-fi series, Flash Forward was a deep dive into the human psyche, questioning how we would react if we could see the future and how much control we really have over our destinies. The show's structure, which alternated between flash forwards and the present-day investigation, created a narrative tension that kept audiences guessing. But critics, distracted by its sprawling mysteries and pacing issues, failed to see that Flash Forward was more about human nature than the science fiction element of premonitions. It was about the choices people make when faced with the knowledge of their future and how this knowledge can both empower and destroy them. As the series unfolded, it became clear that the future wasn't a set destination, but something malleable, shaped by decisions made in the present. Flash Forward didn't just explore the implications of visions of the future, it examined the tension between free will and predestination, a question that has haunted humanity for centuries. Critics missed the complexity of the show's themes, focusing instead on its flaws. But in hindsight, Flash Forward has grown into a cult favorite for fans who understand its deeper philosophical underpinnings. Equilibrium, 2002. When Equilibrium hit theaters, it was often dismissed as a derivative knockoff of The Matrix, with critics focusing on its similarities to the Wachowskis' groundbreaking film and overlooking its deeper social commentary. However, those who judged it too quickly missed the film's complex exploration of totalitarianism, emotional suppression, and the cost of individuality. Set in a dystopian future where emotions are outlawed and suppressed through a drug called prozium, Equilibrium presents a chilling portrayal of a society where the pursuit of peace and stability has come at the cost of humanity itself. The protagonist, played by Christian Bale, is a high-ranking officer in the government's enforcement division, tasked with eradicating all emotions, until he begins to question the very system he's sworn to protect. Critics were quick to point out the film's stylized action sequences, including the now iconic gun-kata combat technique, but they missed the greater point. Equilibrium is a stark critique of a world where conformity is enforced and individuality is punished. The film's exploration of free will versus control is one of its most thought-provoking aspects, showing how even the most well-intentioned systems can be dehumanizing. While Equilibrium may have been overshadowed by the success of other dystopian films of the era, it has grown into a cult classic, especially for those who appreciate its blend of thrilling action and sharp political commentary. In an age where authoritarianism and surveillance are increasingly prevalent, the film's warnings about the loss of personal freedoms feel even more relevant. Equilibrium may have been initially overlooked, but its themes resonate more deeply with today's audience, proving that critics failed to grasp its true significance. The Fountain, 2006. Darren Aronofsky's The Fountain remains one of the most misunderstood films of the 2000s. Upon its release, critics labeled the film as confusing and pretentious, criticizing its structure, pacing, and visual style. However, they missed the film's profound exploration of love, death, and the eternal quest for immortality. The film is presented in three interwoven narratives spanning over 1,000 years, nor each exploring the same core themes of human existence and the desire to conquer death. Hugh Jackman plays a central role in all three timelines, one as a 16th century conquistador searching for the fountain of youth, another as a modern-day scientist trying to cure his wife's terminal illness, and a third as a future space traveler attempting to save a dying star. Critics, unable to see past the nonlinear structure and abstract visuals, failed to understand how the three stories were connected thematically, rather than through direct plot progression. The Fountain is not about the literal pursuit of immortality, but the emotional journey of accepting mortality. The film asks the question, how do we reconcile with the idea that life and death are part of a natural, cyclical process? Adi Aronofsky uses the visual language of fantasy and science fiction to convey this profound philosophical question, making the film an ambitious meditation on existence itself. In an era where people fear death and cling to the notion of eternal life, The Fountain offers a much-needed reflection on the beauty of letting go. Critics may have missed its deeper message at the time, but now, with time and perspective, the film's stunning visuals, poetic storytelling, and bold exploration of universal themes are finally being recognized for what they truly are: masterpieces of modern cinema. These films weren't just misunderstood, they were ahead of their time. Critics missed the deep themes and philosophical layers that make them timeless. Today, their messages resonate louder than ever, urging us to question society, humanity, and our place in the universe. What critics overlooked, audiences now embrace. These are the films that continue to shape modern cinema.